Now, the life path number 9 is preset to ascend into an extremely high level of consciousness. And that high level of consciousness is intimidating to other people because it makes other people feel naked. It makes other people feel exposed. It makes other people feel weak. So what ends up happening is the soul that's on a journey down the life path number 9, you constantly are in circumstances and situations where you come to realize that the people that you're dealing with are struggling to ascend into a higher consciousness, but it seems so easy for you to understand and access. It seems so easy for you. And what ends up happening is you have to part ways because the person refuses to ascend. They refuse to adapt. They refuse to grow. And you have to catch the person again during the retrograde. You have to catch the person, at another phase in life when they can catch up. But you're there to give them the seeds that helps their consciousness to grow. You're constantly in circumstances and life situations that forces or causes your consciousness to accelerate and expand. Higher learning, ninth house. That number 9 is very heavy in the 9th house. So it's expansive consciousness. You're constantly going through things where you realize there's a bigger view. There's more to understand. That number 9 is capable of levels of compassion and unconditional love that's unfathomable by the common person, to where their words and actions takes years for a person to catch up to understand why they did that and why they said that. It takes years. A person will be 5 or 10 years later and look back and like, oh wow, now I understand why he said that. Now I understand why he did that, or she. But the person's gone now. When that number 9 comes into somebody's life, it means that person is in a critical point where their consciousness can collapse if they keep on that course. So you're there to give them that AED to, their consciousness, to make sure that illumination takes place, expansion takes place, because a narrow mind is present, a stagnant growth. You are always going to be put in the midst of people with very low frequencies in their consciousness. People who are attached to and addicted to the flesh, the physical realm, the limitations of consciousness within the parallels of the physical experience, interpreting all things through the flesh, looking on the surface at what things mean or not. You're there to show them that it's much deeper and it's wider, and there's more light that you could afford to your consciousness. There's a lot of falling outs that's going to happen with the number 9s. The number 9s attract many enemies because your soul is very strong. Your consciousness is incredibly powerful. And because of that, people are so intimidated, they will seek to attack you from the astral. And what I mean by the astral is they will say and do things that oppose you, that set you up, that set you back, that set you up for downfall, or try to expose you because they don't want you to appear so perfect and so wise. No matter how much you try, you're not going to be able to hide the wisdom or consciousness that God gave you access to. You got the keys, and they realize they don't have it. So you are constantly going to be dealing with enemies all your life. Enemies are going to be in things, and enemies are going to be in people. And you have to face these enemies because the enemies give you wisdom of yourself. They give you realization of your power and strength as well. Enemies also teach you that there's a higher frequency that you could go to where you do not have to respond to them or react to them on that level. You could go higher from the bird's eye view. And when you go higher, you do not bring corruption upon your soul by returning fire. You don't bring corruption on your soul by getting down dirty and low like them. Because you understand that overall, to simplify it, anybody who coming after me, anybody who trying to take strike on me, is because they're afraid or they're suffering. It's one of the two. You either attacking me because you're afraid or because you're suffering. So who am I to further the damage? I'm going to go higher, and I'm going to do and say things that you might not understand, but it's not going to hurt you or harm you. That's the number 9, and that's what we intended to do. We intended to come from a higher place. That also demonstrates true power, because when you have true power, you have the ability to affect the person in a negative way, but you don't do it because you understand that that is not what's to be done. It's inappropriate. The number 9 is going to struggle with illusions in this life. And it's the illusions of success and what success really is and what it really means. Victory, what it really is and what it really means. Success and victory, according to that number 8 that's behind the number 9, that the number 9 is evolving from and coming from is, oh, look at all this stuff I bought. Look at all this stuff I have. Look at all these cool and popular, resourceful people that I'm surrounded by. That's an illusion. So you would have to show and prove and demonstrate success from different frequencies, which usually come back to the character. Number 9 is success in character, a successful character, a successful consciousness, a victorious consciousness, and a victorious character. And when it is successful and when it is victorious, no weapon formed against it can prosper. No enemy can succeed against him or her. And every downfall or every loss is a gain of their own souls, codes, and powers and forces. Adversity only makes them stronger, wiser, and more illuminated, closer to God, solidified, perfected. The number 9s are given isolation always. Because down the number 9 life path, you come to understand the power of being alone. Transforming that isolation into solitude. Number 9, Virgo. The number 9 is the birth of Christ. That number 9 Virgo, divine masculine, is actually Mother Mary. And Mother Mary gives birth to baby Jesus. The number 9 is baby Jesus. You are the birth of Christ. You are Christ among the people. You are the illumination of the heart. You are the Christ impulse. Those who have number 9 life path, you're going down a life path to evolve and to be born as Christ. And those who already have number 9 as a heart soul urge, you already are Christ. And you have to go out into the world and gather disciples. So the one who is Christ is becoming Christ, which is the life path, not the heart soul urge number, but the life path number 9. You have to go through the wilderness. 40 days, 40 nights in the wilderness. You have to go through persecution. You have to pick up your cross and carry it through the city. You have to go through all of the things that Jesus went through with that number 9. And you have to lose everything as you do it. Because remember, Jesus did not evolve into the Christ until after the crucifixion. That's when he evolved into the Christ. That's when he perfected the impulse of the Christ. It was after the crucifixion. He was always that person, but it was not perfected until after. And that's what that number 9 life path is about. The number 9 life path is you becoming the Son. S-U-N, S-O-N, interchangeable. That is the shift of Jesus into the Christ. The one who already is life path number 9, well, heart, soul, urge number 9, that is, which is not the same as life path number 9. If you have heart, soul, urge number 9, you already are Christ. You already have the Christ impulse. And it's your duty in this life to go and pick up disciples. Walk with those disciples. Remember that Satan came to Jesus and tempted him with all the things of the world. Prostrate to me, make obeisance to me, and I will make all these things yours. But Jesus corrected him. These things is already mine. Man should not live by bread alone. You understand? So luxury in life, things in life, popular people, women, girls, attractive people, popularity, getting attention and validation, all these different things. These are the things of Satan. When Satan loves you, you're going to have a lot of that. When you're doing a good job for Satan, you're going to get plenty of that. When you're working for Satan, you will not lack anything of a worldly sense. You're going to have it all. You're going to have it all. Because he's the prince of this world. It's a trial that he has ownership, temporary hold of this world. So when you are involved in demonic activity, you are assisting the satanic forces. Yes, these things come as an attraction to you. And you're attracted to it. It comes to you naturally. The money, the property, the things, the people. All that stuff surrounds you when you are living in a sense that helps Lucifer. All those things. But once you are working for God, you're working for spirit. No, you gotta leave that stuff so that you can have the true treasures of heaven. You can't realize it with all that in your way. You can't realize it with all that in your face. No, you can't. You're not going to get both. It don't work like that. So we all have to download the Christ impulse. We all, as a humanity, as a people, we have to evolve and download the Christ impulse. That is the North Node, Pisces. Pisces is Christ. That's Jesus. Pisces is Jesus Christ. And Jesus, let me clarify, that is the second manifestation of Adam, which is the aspect of Adam who has the consciousness of the wisdom of love. And when we talk about Christ, we are talking about the wisdom of God illuminating from the heart. And when the wisdom of God illuminates from the heart's impulse, you do not need the letter of the law to live by, because the law is already written in the heart, which is your natural instincts to manifest compassion, love, and understanding. That is when you have become the number 9. So as a humanity, we've come to the point where we're expected all together to evolve to this frequency of Christ. This is the return of Christ. The return of Christ, meaning we as a collective are going to become the frequency of the Christ impulse, which is North Node Pisces. That's the Christ impulse return. But to do that, we have to go through the trials of number 9 Hermit card, which is South Node Virgo. Letting go of the dissatisfaction with the material world. Letting go of attachment with the material world. Transforming our identity from the material world into spirit. So we have to catch these higher frequencies to evolve into that state where Virgin Mary gives birth to Christ. Where number 9 Hermit card Virgo gives birth to the illumination of Christ through Pisces. Pisces brings together 2 impulses. You have Neptune, which is faith and unconditional love, compassion, understanding, vision, right? And you have Jupiter, which is higher learning, higher consciousness, the crown chakra, the 9th house, spiritual wisdom, truth, justice, divine law. When you bring these two together, this is the illumination of the heart, Christ's impulse. Because Jupiter is considered the father. That's Obatala, the father of all Orishas, the white light. The bending of the white light, answer frequencies of all light, the prism. The prism. Neptune being love, Jupiter being truth, forming the prism. Love, truth, prism. Understand that? Love, truth, prism. Does that sound familiar? Love, truth, prism. Now, LifePath and Soul Urge number 9. These themes in your life, okay? You are manifesting the divine water bearer, okay? Which is actually Aquarius. That's what you're manifesting. Now, this is the purpose and action and will of John the Baptist, which starts with Aries, first house, okay? So Aries and Aquarius is correlated in this sense of the number 9. Aries being John the Baptist, okay? And Aquarius being the will and purpose fulfilled of John the Baptist, which is the water bearer. When you are the water bearer, the water is not yours. You're carrying it in a gourd. You are the gourd. You become the gourd. And the water is not yours. It's for the people. You understand? Now, the water is a resource that comes from source. So all of your resources belong to source. It don't belong to you no more because you're the humanitarian. If you're on a life path number 9, you are learning to undo your possession and identification with the water in your life. And what I mean by the water in your life, the resources in your life. The resources in your life no longer belong to you. You are expected to deliver these resources to where it needs to go and to who it needs to go to. And that could be your knowledge and information, your wisdom, your experiences. That could be your money, your wealth, your property. Everything in your life is for others. It's to serve with. This doesn't mean that you just give, put yourself in detriment. No. Let common sense be our guide. But what I'm saying is, you are going to notice a pattern in your life where you're expected to have because you're expected to give. And what doesn't go with that mission is going to be taken away from you. And when you go on missions for your own selfish aims and pursuits, for your own glory, it's going to be a crash and fall. When you go to get something and obtain it for your ego, it's going to be snatched away from you. When you have something in your life that's distracting you from showing up with the water gourd, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. You're going to lose everything that stops you from showing up with that water gourd in that life path number 9. Because we have to learn to get it right, to embody that energy, that spirit into ourselves. Why? Because the heart soul urge number has to be delivered down that pathway. Okay? Your heart soul urge number has to be delivered down that pathway. And that heart soul urge number has to do, especially with your first house, Aries, John the Baptist. Okay? So your identity belongs to the people. Your identity is formed, fashioned, and shaped to serve the people. Your first house is calibrated to accommodate the people's needs. Even if it is in your image, you stand as an inspiration to the people. Oh my God, she's here. Look at her shining in all that light. That glory is for God, not for you. Because you're expected to give people hope, give people faith, give people strength, give people reassurance. You're the father of the fatherless, and you're the mother of the motherless. You're a teacher of the teachers. You show up with what's needed according to your Aries and first house. So that Aries and first house has to be delivered to the 11th house, the people, the community. You are the water bearer. This has everything to do with Aquarius. John the Baptist, you are fulfilling the life path of John the Baptist. You are going down the road of John the Baptist. You are baptizing the people, getting them prepared to receive Christ's codes into their life, into their consciousness. You are preparing them. That's why you have an expanded consciousness. Down that life path, you're learning to repurpose your heart soul urge number for that humanitarian cause. Not for your own glory, not for your selfish aims, not for your own stomach, not for your penis, not for your pussy. Nope. It's for the people. You belong to the people. Your relationships are not even going to be yours. Even if you're married, you get a girlfriend, you get a boyfriend, a business relationship, or whichever else. You were sent there to bring water. And water is to bring what is needed, what is required. And it has to be pure. It has to be divine. It has to be a consciousness that is needed in the environment, a consciousness that that person needs. But you have to embody it first. And in order to embody it, you have to suffer it. That is why number 9 includes much suffering, because you have to relate to every single number. Every number. What's 9 times 2? 18. What's 1 and 8? 9. You're relating. What's 9 times 3? 27. What's 2 and 7? 9. You're relating. What's 9 times 4? 36. 3 and 6 is 9. You're relating. So it's divisible by all numbers. You have to relate to all numbers and frequencies. So you have to suffer all numbers and frequencies so that you have compassion and understanding. So it's sincere. Your service is sincere. Now, the heart soul urge number 9 already has this urge, already has this code. I want to serve the people. I want to bring the water. They already have that. So their life path will include a specific place to deliver it to. Understand that, okay? So this is divine water bearers. So we all are going to be downloading these number 9 life path numbers. I know I'm saying this over and over again. You know, a lot of these recordings I recorded at different time increments and compiled them together. So hopefully, you know, again, it flows natural, you know, for you. But the point is, Pluto Aquarius transit for the next 20 years, this is what we're doing. We are ushering in John the Baptist codes through Aries and Aquarius so that the Christ frequency can download in the people. We have to download the Christ frequency. This means Christ is coming next. If John the Baptist is there, that means Christ is coming next. That's the next thing we're going to do, is download the Christ impulse codes into the consciousness. This is when we arrive at the perfect understanding of love. When we arrive at the perfect understanding of love, it don't got nothing to do with romance. Do not defile love with romance. Please don't make that mistake. Do not, it ain't got nothing to do with your damn pussy, ain't got nothing to do with your dick. It don't got nothing to do with who's cute and who you infatuated with. That is not love. Don't disrespect love like that. Don't you dare disrespect love like that. That's not love. We are going to download a common consciousness of love in this world. And when we all get on the frequency of love, we don't have to have laws. We don't have to have rules. Because we all are going to have a common understanding that radiates from the heart's impulse. And this world is going to be so safe and peaceful because of that. But this is first. Coming out of materialism, luxury and greed, fear, lack, and all these different things, competition, arrogance, selfishness, all these we got to detach from all those low vibrations. So number 9 is here so that we can step into mastery codes of consciousness that brings in Christ, which goes to 11 vibration, 7 vibration, as well as 22. 11, 7, 22. But mostly 11 and 22. Right? We're ushering in Christ. This is a collective thing. In addition to these things, the water bearer, this is a revolutionary as well. When we talk about humanitarian or Aquarius themes, we're also talking about a revolutionary. This is someone who goes against falsehood and inconsistencies with truth and justice. This is a person who speaks up against and acts against that which does harm to the collective. It's a guide for the people. And the revolutionary codes are coming from Uranus. The authority is coming from Saturn. Uranus and Saturn both rule Aquarius. Uranus goes against the grain, it goes against the system, it goes against the establishment, it challenges the authority or establishment of the status quo. So you're going to find that the number 9 life path includes putting you in position and circumstances to where you have to address foul shit. You got to call things out. You got to put people in their place. You got to check the bullshit. You got to do some exposing. People are going to come up against you. People are going to rebel against you. People are going to work together against you to get you up out of there because they sense the revolutionary in you. They know that you're a rebel. They know that you're not going to go for it. They know you're not going to sit there and just fold and accept the bull crap. They know that you see what's foul and you have the strength to call it out. So this is what attracts enemies to the number 9. You will attract enemies who are standing with falsehood, who are standing with oppression, who are standing with injustice. You are going to attract these type of people as far as you being placed in their environments because you are like a prophet or a messenger that's sent to correct it. And the authority of heaven is with you as you do so. Those who have the heart soul urge number 9, this is natural impulse in their heart already. They don't have to go down that life path to learn those things. It's already in them to be that way. Like, I'm not, we're not doing that. That's wrong. That's not fair. And see, these are also the same people that others come to for advice. When you're on a life path number 9, you pick up this energy of the number 9. Or when you have the heart soul urge number 9, you are someone who others seek advice from. They come to you and ask questions. They come to you and ask for your input, your advice. They don't like what you have to say, but they know it's the truth. They ask for your advice, but they don't like what you have to say. Why? Because you're going to say the truth, because you're coming from Aquarius spirit, which is the water bearer. Aquarius is going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. Aquarius is not going to sugarcoat, because remember, Aquarius has an association with Aries, because you can't manifest Aquarius without Aries. Because Aries is the truth of the identity, the I am. Only the I am can come together to form the body, the church of Aquarius. You have to be standing in the I am to manifest Aquarius. The number 9 learns the I am because the life path of number 9 has you to experience different facets about yourself being inauthentic. You have to be put in many crises where you question yourself and your morals, your values, and say, is this who I am? Is this what I'm about? You know what? I gotta let this go because this ain't what I'm about. You know what? I gotta change course. I enjoy this. I want to be a part of it, but this ain't real. This ain't true. This ain't right. It's not just. So that number 9 life path has to do with finding the strength and finding the identity within yourself to know that a lot of things got to get left behind. A lot of people got to get left behind. And the more you leave people and things behind that are not of truth or love, consistent with truth, love, and justice, the more solidified you become in your identity in that Aries aspect of yourself. Understand that. Okay, now let's talk about shock value. The soul urge number 9, which already has the number 9 vibration within the soul, they carry one hell of a shock value. Because remember, Uranus is incorporated into the expression of the number 9, Uranus, okay? Because number 9 finds its platform at the 11th, okay? The humanitarian and the revolutionary. So to be the revolutionary aspect of this, you have to have a sense of rebellion about yourself. You are rebellious to the core. But that rebellion does not come out except through Aries or Mars. Now, Aries and Mars, now we have to talk about the position of Mars, okay? What brings that Uranus shock value out? Now, Mars is at the asteroid belt. Mars is inside of the asteroid belt. Who's right outside the asteroid belt is Jupiter, our Father who art in heaven. Okay, our Father who art in heaven. Now, this is not to be misunderstood as, Allah. But what we mean by Father is the dome, the head, the super consciousness, you understand, the crown chakra, 9th house, higher frequencies of the head, okay? Now, Mars stands positioned as a defender of his father, you see? So what provokes Uranus to come out in the expression as a shock value, it's awakened through Mars in Aries, or the identity, the first house. Also the Mars position of the person carrying the number 9 or walking down the life path of the number 9. Now, this means that matters of truth and justice, truth, justice, freedom, equality, truth, justice, freedom, equality, right? Truth, justice, freedom, equality. When one of these things are compromised or provoked or stifled, or somebody tries to play someone else, especially, that Mars and Aries, is going to activate, and it's going to get Uranus involved for the shock value. That's what's going to end up happening, and you're going to get the shock of your life, because the number 9 carries beautiful character. The number 9 carries a character of a grandfather or a grandmother. Okay? The grandfather and grandmother don't bother nobody. They don't disturb anyone. They're respectful. They have great character, good culture about themselves, very traditional, stout. Even the physical form is stout. They don't have futuristic bodies like the number 5 vibration. Those who have who have heart, soul, urge number 5, or even life path number 5, they tend to have an athletic, futuristic build. Their bodies are very lean and attractive most of the time. They usually are bow-legged as well. You understand? Standing and looking charismatic. But the number 9 is very stout, traditional, old school look about themselves. You understand? They're very cool, calm, collective. They don't bother nobody, okay? Number 9s do not start stuff. They do not cause confusion. However, if you start it, they will finish it, and they will overwhelm you with how they finish it. So you don't want to fuck with a number 9. If you fuck with a number 9, nigga, good luck. Good luck to you, because you don't get to see their strength until it's necessary, okay? The number 9 don't show his gun until it's time to use it. If you see the number 9's gun, that mean they gonna use that shit. So you better get the fuck out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Now, Uranus is what's giving that shock value. They'll say things that hit straight into your soul. And it hits so hard, you don't even have a comeback for it. Because that number 9 is coming from deep consciousness, expansive consciousness. That means they have the ability to say something about you that strips you naked right on the spot, and ain't nothing you can say about it. You exposed, you broke down, you embarrassed, you're tied in a knot by the truth. And that truth will break you down so bad it'll have you go home sucking your thumb, thinking your life over. Like, damn, I shouldn't even been fucking born. I can't believe this nigga said that shit. So the number 9 will say something that will just rattle you, shock you to death. I'm talking about lay you to bed. You don't want to fuck with no number 9. I'm telling you. Now, the life path number 9 takes you down experiences to where you lose the tolerance with people and they bullshit. Okay? Because you have such a high consciousness, you're going down a life path of dealing with people with low consciousness and low frequencies, to where you lose the tolerance to even put up with their shit because you see them coming from a mile away. Because again, the number 9 life path includes repetition of constant experiences with all frequencies. So for that reason, you get to a point in your life where, yo, already see where he going. I know where he coming from. He think I ain't see that. He think I ain't peep that. And then next thing you know, you get to where you start exerting the number 9. And you give them a shock value every now and then that startles, the hell out of them. You understand? You start to tap into that Uranus energy that's very bold, direct. I mean, it's a lightning bolt that just came out of nowhere. It gives you a tower moment straight from the tongue. You know what I mean? And so the other thing is, besides the shock value of this, this number 9 is basically, see, the grandfather and the grandmother is what it is too. Because the grandfather and the grandmother is not personally attached to the grandchild. Okay? You're not, naturally that is, you're not supposed to be the one that, every single day, you put them to bed, you change their diapers, you take care of the school affairs and all this other stuff, help with their homework, yada, yada. The grandmother, grandfather is the ones who take them on the weekends, you understand, spend time with them for fun, get to, experience them or whatever, things like that's how it's supposed to be. But we all know that a lot of grandparents raise the kids, okay? That's neither here nor there. But what I mean is, when you are detached from a person, you understand the person. When you're attached to the person, you cannot understand that person because your love is in the way. Your feelings are in the way. Your expectations are in the way. All right? Your ego is tied up in it. So when all these things are involved in a situation, you're not able to understand that person. You're only able to project onto that person, through that person, or dilute your perception of that person because of your feelings. The number 9 goes down, number 9 life path takes you down a pathway where you learn not to get attached to people, because you learn how to apply Aquarius to your relationships instead of personalizing it. When you do that, you're able to better assess the person and give a diagnosis to the person that you're dealing with. And you're going to find that it naturally kicks into you where no matter who comes in your life, you immediately have a diagnosis of what the person's crisis is, where it's coming from, and how you can help them or how they can help themselves. Because you're not standing in a personal position with them. Once we get personal, you get blind. You understand? So your relationships are not going to include deep intimacy necessarily, because you're not meant to be in a relationship with a person for earthly reasons. You're meant to be in a relationship with a person for heavenly reasons. And for that, you have to have your heart attached. Your heart belongs to God, not that person. Your heart don't belong to that husband. It don't belong to that wife. It belongs to God. And through that person, you deliver. You deliver. You understand? So hopefully I'm articulating this, the right way where it could be understood. But these are things that, we definitely want to reflect about and think about. So now, when we're talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, Jupiter, the Father, this is the head, the crown chakra, ninth house, higher learning, the higher consciousness. So this is the goal of the number 9 life path as a collective. This is the result of that hermit card, giving you access to the frequencies of your Jupiter, giving you access to the frequencies of the Jupiter algorithms, which is Sagittarius and Pisces. Pisces being the Christ aspect of that, and Sagittarius being the spreading of that gospel or message of truth, which includes love. Understand that. Now, when we say sun, S-U-N, we're talking about the heart's frequencies, 5th house, and the soul contract in particular that you have through your numerology, the HeartSoulUrge. Your HeartSoulUrge, that is your sun, S-U-N, which is born from the Father, Jupiter. So your Jupiter placement has a lot to do with the expression of your sun placement or your sun's energy, which is the 5th house, S-U-N. And your sun placement natally in your natal birth chart. That's relationship with the Father and the Son. I and my Father are one. You understand? So your sun placement and your Jupiter placement is one. I and my Father are one. It is one. That consciousness is one. So Jupiter serves as the light of the head, while the sun is the light of the earth. Understand that. Or of the world, that is. Now, when we talk about the Holy Spirit, we're talking about the thoughts, words, and actions that are produced from these frequencies. The thoughts, words, and actions that are produced from that. That's the Holy Spirit. When you speak and act on behalf of the higher frequencies of the sun that's enlightened by Jupiter, now you're talking about the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit draws from your South Node wisdom. Understand that. Your South Node wisdom. We have a lot of things that's in our way, that's distractions based on the confusion we have on what context we are to view the values of this world. We've become materialized and such. We've missed the point of why we came here. And we have to get back to it to usher in Christ. Now, John the Baptist. Who was John the Baptist? First of all, John the Baptist was the one who ushered in Christ. He ushered in Jesus, all right? He was in the wilderness, baptizing the people as a witness for the coming of Christ. Now, John the Baptist is Aries. That's Aries, the head. So, the preparation had to come from the head, Aries. Right now, we're in the preparation, North Node Aries. So because we're in the North Node Aries, this is John the Baptist baptizing the self for the coming of Christ. Understand? And the coming of Christ is you coming to the illumination of your purpose on life, on this earth, in this lifetime. So as a collective, we all have to get on the same page with that so we can usher in bringing the kingdom of God to earth, the kingdom of heaven to earth together. And it's a together job. It ain't no one floating down on no fucking cloud doing. We as a collective are the body. We are the church. Understand that. So John the Baptist has been ushering in the baptism that allows this to take place. So when we talk about baptism, we're talking about purging, purification, coming to the acceptance and consciousness of the assignment, being prepared to do the work, being prepared to receive the initiation. We're at the point of initiation with baptism. Understand that. Soon as you get baptized, that's when the drama starts. That's when the drama comes. Soon as you get married, that's when the drama comes. Right? You don't go through all that shit during the honeymoon phase when you dating. Soon as you get married, here come the devil. Soon as you get initiated, here come the devil. Why? Because evidence and proofs have to be there. You got to get tested. You got to get proved that this is who you say you are. This is what you say you about. Okay, let's see. We gonna find out. John the Baptist, that's Aries. And Aries has been a focus point and still is the focus point because of the North Node. When we have the North Node at Aries, John the Baptist is here ready to usher in Christ. And that means when the North Node gets over the Pisces, Christ is present. Christ is now here because those frequencies of the Christ impulse is downloaded. This is a very, very, very high level of consciousness that humanity is about to tap into. And luxury and material things and vanities, looks, pleasures, and gratification, all that stuff is it only makes dense the body to where you cannot pick up frequencies. So I'm not saying that you cannot partake in those things or you're not gonna have those things, you just gonna be broke. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, matter of fact, just as Brother Cam, my man's Cam said in the comment section, he articulated it perfectly. And he himself is a LifePath 9. I only, say this because, he volunteered to mention it in the comment section with the last video I put out. And I'm thankful that he did, comment, because a lot of times when you guys say things, it helps to, say things in different ways, and I'm able to say it, and it helps everybody. I'm sure there's a lot of wisdom out there that we all can benefit from, if you guys would, lift your voices up, So, like he was saying, after experiencing these transformations, I'm just saying in so many words because I'm not able to reference it at the moment. But after, acceptance of these transformations and experiences, you get prepared to where you can handle these things without letting it corrupt you, And there was another brother who chimed in as well, and confirmed the same thing. So I'm thankful that those things were said because, again, we all are obviously on the same page, about this, that we got to be conditioned to handle certain responsibilities or it could spoil us or spoil the mission. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what we want to do. We want to become devices and tools for, for spirit, for source. We want to be used for the higher, for the kingdom of heaven, out here, not for lower purposes and frequencies, So this is what we're getting prepared for. Now, the South Node Virgo, obviously on the axis of the North Node Pisces, which is coming up next. That South Node Virgo, that's the number 9 Hermit card that we have to go through that to get to that Christ impulse. The South Node Virgo is Virgin Mary giving birth to Christ. That's the miraculous birth, okay? That is the miraculous birth right there. That's Isis giving birth to Osiris. Understand? Okay? Because when you see Isis, Osiris is sitting right on her lap as a little bitty baby. You know what I mean? A little bitty baby. And that's you, the little bitty baby sitting on the lap of Isis. Divine masculine. Yes, it sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. When I say divine masculine, number 9, Hermit card, yes, that's a feminine image. But it's a divine masculine force. Because remember, masculine and feminine is not gender. It's energy. All right? It's not gender, it's energy. So that Virgin Mary is divine masculine, number 9. That's Virgin Mary. You know what I mean? That's a high authority right there. Okay, that's a process where you transform the isolation into solitude. That's a process where you tap into um, commitment and embrace of your well-being. All right, and that means you have to come to maturity real quick. You got to get mature very fast, because when you come to maturity, it's easy for you to recognize well-being over gratification. When you come to maturity, it's easy for you to see what's good for you and what's not. But when you can't come to maturity, you're going to struggle with that, because you got all these impulses of the lower nature that's telling you to do this or get that or have that, but it's going to spoil the spirit. So we have to process through the number 9 Hermit card, which is South Node Virgo, divine masculine, in order to transform that isolation into solitude, to transform the losses into the regain of self. You know what I mean? Because the more that we are, a lot of us are going to lose things. You know what I'm saying? Coming up. I mean, I'm not going to kid nobody. A lot of us are going to lose things, but as we lose things, we're going to gain the consciousness of ourself that we need to show up at these frequencies. You know what I'm saying? So losing things gains self in many ways. So understand that. Now, when we talk about Pisces, there's a package deal here. The North Node Pisces is where we pick up our first disciple, which is Peter. That's where we pick up Peter. All right? Peter is the faculty of faith. It's the faculty of faith. See, Christ has to have disciples. There has to be disciples to walk with the master. That's you. All right? That's you. The Christ impulse is the heart, but the heart has to have other faculties that work with it. So all 12 of these signs, or 12 of these energies, and all 7 of these stellium forces, these are your disciples. That helps you to accomplish these things, and it all working simultaneously. The first one is Peter, called Simon, right? And one of the interesting questions that Christ asked Peter before, he asked him, well, who do you say I am? And with him responding, thou art Christ, you know what I mean? He said, upon this, Peter, I'm now going to call you Simon. And upon this, on this rock, I'm going to establish a church. On this rock, I'm going to establish a church. The church is the body of faculties that serves that purpose. That's what that is. But it starts with what? It starts with the faith. It starts with Peter. And notice too, that whenever, throughout all of the gospel stories, Jesus was constantly putting Peter in check. Yes, he was the first and he was the rock that it all was established upon, but he constantly had to keep putting Peter in check. Peter kept getting ahead of himself because of his faith. That is the attribute of Neptune. That's what Neptune does. So a lot of times our Neptune, it's true, it's accurate, because it's giving us the faith, the vision to move on our soul's journey. But it could get out of place and it could get ahead of itself if it's not grounded with the authority of the heart. And the authority of the heart has who has the authority? Remember, Jupiter, your higher learning, your 9th house, your wisdom. See what I'm saying? So it's a hierarchy. It's a hierarchy. You have the Father, you have the Son, Christ, and then you have the disciples that are serving Christ. And in particular, right now, I'm talking about the faculty of faith through Neptune and Pisces. Now, Neptune and Jupiter is what Mars serves. Mars has to act off of Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter is the competence, the wisdom that it takes actions for and fights for and defends. And Neptune is the spiritual vision that it attempts to construct as a carpenter. And remember too, that Christ was a carpenter. Not Christ, but Jesus was a carpenter. And being a carpenter, meaning, among other meanings, is explaining that there is law and order within the body itself. There's law and order. There's mathematical consistency as well. And that explains, one of the expressions of astrology, dealing with degrees, angles, squares, trines, aspects. All of this stuff is found in carpentry too. I'm a fucking carpenter, so I know. Been a carpenter almost 20 years now. We do the same thing with degrees, angles, lines, measures. Understand? All of this is astrology. So we have to keep our faith faculties in check too, just like Jesus had to keep Peter in check. Peter was not bragging, but he was so full of zeal. Yeah, I'll defend you. If they come for you, I'll be the first to stick up for you. Yeah, I got your back, right? But then Jesus was like, yo, you, before the cock crows 3 times, before the cock crows, you're going to betray me 3 times. You're going to give me up 3 times. And lo and behold, he did. When Jesus got arrested, Peter denied him 3 times. But yet he was the loudest one with all the zeal. Just like that time where same altercation, Peter pulled out his sword and sliced the ear of one called, I believe his name was Simeon. Sliced his ear off. And Jesus yelled at him, yo, put your sword up. What are you doing? Put your sword up. So he told him, put his sword up, and Jesus healed his ear. And he told him, didn't I tell you that if God wants me to drink from this cup, that I'm going to drink from this cup? Who are you to pull your sword up, pull your sword out and go against it? If this is what is for me, if this is what is destined for me, and being who I know I came to earth to be, then so be it, I accept it. So he was teaching Peter higher wisdom to guide and direct that faith. And we have to do the same thing. Because just like Peter took out the sword and cut the ear of someone who is acting in the destiny of that life path, we do the same thing where we cut the ear of what's acting really in our favor or what's fulfilling the meaning of our life. We act against it with frustration and anger. We get ahead of ourselves with how we perceiving it. Because remember, Neptune is also, a perception, an overzealous perception that we hold. You know what I mean? It's an overzealous perception. And what is the ear? Faith is by hearing, right? You see what I'm saying? Faith is by hearing. And Jesus immediately healed the ear of that one. Why? Because you don't want to miss the opportunity where someone can possibly, receive faith through what they hear or what they witness you pass through or have acceptance of. That's a missed opportunity. Because even that one person who's arresting him can witness Jesus' character and how he accepted his fate. And that's something mysterious, but it's instructional at the same time, because it will war in his mind, wow, how did he brave acceptance of such a thing? And that could be faith for him, for him. And again, this goes back to that number 9 energy that we all are going to have to pass through, where our ways and actions through illumination of the Christ impulse of the heart is going to be instructional for the world. Everybody's going to be watching and seeing how we evolve, how we behave, how we move, how we act. And it's not going to be predictable. It's going to be something that's instructional, that's going to cause others to tap into frequencies of faith as well. You know what I mean? Understand that. Now, the number 9 is always going to have a connection to the world. So, if your heart soul urge number is number 9, you're likely coming from past life frequencies where you've had many transformational experiences through the 11th house or Aquarius. Understand that. Number 9 goes with Aquarius. Because the results of number 9, it gets delivered to 11th house in Aquarius. That's where it gets delivered to the world. Now, what else is going on with Aquarius simultaneously at the same time? We know that Pluto is at its beginning with Aquarius. It's in retrograde right now, backing up to 29 degrees Capricorn, okay, to close out. But as it goes through Aquarius, dealing with transformational forces, it has to bring transformation to the people, to the collective, to nations, societies, to humanity overall. So we all have to get the software downloaded, the consciousness downloaded to match what has to take place, what has to happen. So Aquarius automatically is going to have to go with that number 9 energy, humanitarian, the people. That is the humanitarian. The number 9 life path is to go down the life path of a humanitarian. Everything in your life becomes about others, not about yourself. Everything becomes about giving, not receiving. Everything becomes about sacrificing yourself for the outcomes that benefits the whole, the collective, not just you selfishly. So this is why we have to go with life path number 9. You end up having to experience so many losses, setbacks, downfalls, and many enemies, because you have to get to the higher view of detachment from these earthly things so that you can come from a sincere space and a clear space of understanding the detriment that humanity is in. You got to be able to relate to the pain of all people, to the suffering of all people. You got to be able to relate to everything that people are going through and been through. So that's why you, in a life path number 9, you on a speed course. You want a speed course in life. And that speed course in life is making sure that you have the ability to relate to all people's sufferings, to what everybody's going through. What does this look like? Compassion, understanding. And compassion and understanding are twins. You cannot tell the difference between the two. Compassion and understanding. So that's a life path that brings you to arrive at compassion, unconditional love, and understanding that you can afford all others. Why? Because you suffered all things. When you suffer all things, you see yourself in other people's suffering. And when people act from their suffering in negative ways or dark ways, you don't take it personal no more, because you see yourself and you pity them. So you come from a higher place that reveals to them their suffering. And somehow they know that you know. You offer them medicine by the way that you respond or react to it. Because everybody else is reacting and responding from the lower frequencies, but here you come placing to the life, acting from a higher frequency, acting from a higher plane of understanding, because you yourself suffered the things that that person suffered. And they feel your strength, they feel your wisdom, they feel your consciousness, they feel your compassion, they feel your understanding. Now God is present, and because God is present, they can get a grip of faith too now. They can see beyond their detriment now too. Number 9s don't flinch. When shit goes down, when stuff happens, they don't flinch. They stay calm because they've been through it all. They're veterans. Number 9s are veterans. So that number 9 gives everybody calmness and confidence. So as a collective, we all are going to be going through a lot of things. Why? So we can have compassion for each other. So we can have understanding toward each other. So we could afford to show up for each other in deeper ways, more expansive ways, so that we as a collective together could come up with the solutions that we need for our suffering, becoming the savior that we're looking for. So what's going on in your 11th house? And where is your Aquarius placement? You want to look at these 2 areas for where that number 9 is going to take its greatest effect for you. Where it's going to come out of your consciousness. The 11th house is where you're going to show up with that number 9 energy. And the sign that you have at the 11th house, stellium or planets that you have at the 11th house, that's what you have at your disposal as faculties to assist you to accomplish those things. Your Aquarius placement, that is where you have the number 9 view in that area of your life. Now, you can't understand something that you attach to. So this is why we get ripped apart from what causes us to become attached to things. And we get attached to things when we get comfortable. We get attached to things when we start relying on it, depending on it. So that number 9 life path is designed to make you very uncomfortable and keep you standing on your feet. To where you finally get comfortable in spirit. You get comfortable in the source, not the resource. You look to the source, not the resource. You put your faith in source, not resource. You call upon source, not scrambling for resource. You come to realize that anything that shows up to benefit you in any way, it didn't come from them. It came from the source that sent them. Understand that. So collectively, these are things that we got to come to understand and evolve to. You know what I mean? We're becoming Christ. We're downloading the Christ wisdom. Now, part of the John the Baptist energy goes with Aquarius as well, just like it does Aries, the water bearer. Water is to bring what's essential to everyone, what's needed by everyone, what's critical to everyone. What binds everyone together? Water. Useful information, useful knowledge, useful wisdom. The number 9 is useful. You can't do without the number 9. If you got a number 9 in your midst, you're blessed. The number 9 has a natural expansive consciousness that causes them to take a collective crisis personal. They feel personal to the collective crisis. Now, how do I know this? I'm a life path number 9 myself. My stellium Gemini is in 11th house. Sun and Mars in 11th house. You know what I'm saying? So, with me having a concentration of priority in the 11th house, stellium in 11th house, okay? I'm a humanitarian. I'm always feeling personally connected to what's going on in the world. I feel personally affected and personally motivated and moved by world events. I take it personal. And you can hear it in all of my messages. That the worldview is very important to me. You know what I mean? So we all are going to download that together. That same consciousness. Now, I was mentioning to you about Pisces representing Peter, the first active disciple of Christ, who said, "Come with me and I will make you fishers of men." Now, what does Pisces have to do with all of this too? Look at your 12th house. Pisces rules the 12th house, okay? The 12th house is where you produce unconditional love. That's where unconditional love is produced, okay? So, what good does it do for us to show up to the 11th house with our number 9 energy and we don't even have unconditional love to give? We have to have unconditional love to show up with. That is the wealth that we are to give. We're supposed to give wealth from heaven. And that wealth from heaven is that unconditional love of the 12th house. Every one of us has wealth to give from heaven, and that's the 12th house. But it starts as a 12th house crisis with yourself, where you have to deal with those enemies in yourself internally. You have to give illumination to the darkness in that 12th house. When you give illumination to the darkness of that 12th house, everything in the 12th house becomes a disciple that helps you to accomplish unconditional love radiating from yourself. Compassion and understanding that can never run out. Eternal love. Pisces 12th house is for the whole world. It's even more expansive than the 11th house. We gotta show up with that unconditional love. That's another attribute that makes us Christ-like. You have to have that disciple with you. Peter got to walk with you. But Peter can also betray you. What's in your 12th house can betray you too, because remember, if you fall asleep on it, if you don't guide it, if you don't stay as an authority, as a master to that disciple, it will trip you up. It'll bind you up. It'll get you off course. It'll, you know what I mean? It will compromise your mission. Jesus kept all his disciples in check. He was the authority of his disciples. He was a master of his disciples. His disciples served him. So you have to stay as master of your disciples. Your forces and faculties that you have to accomplish mission. You have to stay in control of it. Because what's in that 12th house, yes, it affords you unconditional love. But if you have a relapse, it's the demons that you entertain in secret. It's the demons it's the monkey on your back that you can't seem to shake off. You know what I mean? Let me give you an example. Let's say you got Venus in the 12th house. That's an anointing that you have to heal women, right? It also can be a crisis that you have, a monkey on your back, where you can't control your lust with women. Secret affairs. You can't seem to get away from them drawers, you know what I mean? That ass keep calling you. You shivering at night, trying not to get up in that ass. You can't seem to stop fucking bitches. You know what I'm saying? So it could go the other way. So you have to keep that faculty in check, because it wasn't meant for you to be perverse with it. It was meant for you to afford unconditional love. But you got to suffer first. You got to suffer to produce that unconditional love, because you recognize that suffering in others. And you suffering through that, you gain intimate knowledge of what that energy is all about. And you could come on the side of illumination with that same intimate knowledge and serve and heal with it. The venom becomes antidote. You understand what I'm saying? And I know this personally because I got Venus in the 12th house. I used to really struggle about women. like an appetite for women that just was ridiculous. And I know that I still have that appetite, but I've become wise enough not to put myself in position to where I lose that authority. Because I'm not going to kid myself in thinking that I'm strong enough that it's about my strength, because it's not. It's about your authority. And authority is about your decisions, your choices. It's about your consent, being aware of your consent, being aware of your decisions, being aware of the authority behind your decisions. And I know I can make decisions not to put myself in that position to have to war and struggle with 12th house Venus. Because here I go again, I'm a hoe again. I ain't got no shame in talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had pussy in years. Years. And it's not because of my strength. It's because I finally learned my authority. That is all my choices. If I don't put myself in certain positions, I'm not subject to that. And I'm protected, I'm covered. Can't nothing fuck with me. But if I get careless, yeah, now I got a problem on my hand. And what does that do? It turns into unconditional love, because with me going through all those shadows, that monkey on my back, it exposed me to sacred knowledge about women, things about women that other people don't know. I know shit about women that niggas just can't fathom. Because I have such easy access to women. Like it's nothing. I don't care how fine she is with. It's never been hard for me to get women. It's never been hard for me to fuck a bitch. It's water off a duck's back. That's nothing. But it taught me things. It gave me insight into things that allows me to use that venom as antidote now. Because now I know the truth about women. Nobody could fool me. I really know. Because I have the experience. I know. This is things I know. So I'm anointed when it comes to women. I have an anointing when it comes to women. I have a special wisdom. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Ain't no mistakes about it. That's authority. Now, the number 9, LifePath, takes you down courses where you gain immunity when it comes to the crisis of loss. Because every time you continue to lose something or lose people out of your life, you get new downloads and expansion to your consciousness that gives you a higher level of acceptance and a regain of your divine identity. It gets to the point where you no longer take value in things, and then the vanity that surrounds surface level relationships. Instead, we take value in what it can accomplish for your mission, what it can accomplish for love, what it can accomplish for purpose. Together, we all have to suffer similar things so that we can start to relate to each other, have compassion for one another. So if you look out at the world right now in preparation with what we all are going through, look at a housing market situation. Look at the illegal immigrants indirectly and directly, how it's affecting everyone. Look at the political climate, socially, economically. Look at the culture here in our country and even globally. There's so many things to name and list that spells out crisis that we all are affected by together. And with us all being affected together, it affords us compassion and understanding, empathy. And what's going to end up coming out of that are solutions. We are going to learn how to accommodate each other together as a collective for what we all are going through. It's going to produce the genius out of us. Who else is evolved in Aquarius? Come on. Uranus. Uranus is your genius. That is the genius. Every person is a genius because every person has the impulse of Uranus. That genius is tapped into through crisis, through revelation that dawns on us because of the crisis. Look at how creative people are in the hood. Look at how creative people are in prison. The worst circumstances brings the very best out of you. You can't get more creative than somebody that lives in the slums. Somebody that lives in destitute situations, circumstances, third world countries, ghettos, prisons and jails. You cannot get more creative and genius than that. You just can't. You'll never see a level of genius more impressive than dire circumstance. When you lack, when you can't look forward to institution for resources or whichever else, when it's not given, oh, that genius comes out. You become inventive. You become creative. You become innovative. You find solutions. There's a common attitude in the hood. A lot of y'all out there who from the hood, wherever you at, you can relate to this. It's a common attitude. It's a common understanding that is shared in the hood where money is scarce. Resources are scarce. So it's common, it's natural, it's normal to have conversations or to have interactions that include being resourceful to each other. Like, for example, you get somebody that pull up in something that, somebody say, hey, I'm about to buy such and such car. Nah, yo, I got somebody for that. Yeah, my man's down in so-and-so. Yo, he could give you, he could get you for the low. Or you trying to replace a part. Yo, I got a mechanic. Yeah, my man so-and-so. He'll change that out for you. It ain't even going to hurt your pockets. We naturally become that way when we from the hood. Because we can feel each other's pain. You accommodate. Somebody just came home from doing a bid. They ain't got nothing. Garbage bag is all they got, full of clothes or items that they accumulated. And if you know what it's like to just get out the pen and you don't know where to start, that compassion opens up and you want to help that person because you've been there. Yo, I got this construction job you could get into, you know what I'm saying? Just, hold your head on it for a little bit till you figure things out. My man's over so-and-so, he got an extra room. I could talk to him, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. That compassion opens up and we become solutions for each other. We become resourceful. We become a community is what it is. It took me a little while to find the right word, but the right word is community. We become a community. 11th house is community. You understand? So through crisis, we learn to function as a community, think and act as a community. When you get luxury, when you get too much, when you have abundance, you have a bunch of options, all you see, people get selfish. They covet, they get selfish. Oh, I ain't deal with this person. I'm going to cut that person off. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over there. There's separation and arrogance. But when you realize that all of you are suffering the same crisis, you pull together. You show some humility. You get your ego out the way so that you can survive. And you understand that one hand washes the other. Why you think like foreigners and people from third world countries can come to America and accelerate so fast? Because they're coming from circumstances that open up their consciousness of community. They have a community concept consciousness because they come from lack. I'm not saying this about all countries other than America, but what I'm saying is people who come from third world countries or people who come from countries that are less developed, they come with a stronger sense of community because it's already understood that if we don't stick together, we won't survive. We need each other. So there's certain things in the personality and the psychology that get subdued so that you can survive. It's luxury to bicker and argue about, oh, I want my own this, I want my own that. Oh, I don't want that, I don't want this, but we got to survive. Is there a lot that we could talk about as far as, other people's toxic energy? Yes, it is. Where you share space with somebody or resources with somebody and people take advantage of it. Yeah, we can have that conversation. But the point that I'm having right now is that number 9 life path takes you down that pathway collectively of suffering common experiences so that you could arrive at compassion, so that we can tap into that Uranus aspect of Aquarius and bring down the genius innovations and solutions for our problems collectively as a people, so that we, the community, we, the people, can become the solution for our problems. So we can show up for each other and accommodate each other, not work against each other because of the arrogance of our abundance. Understand that. Number 9. All right, number 9. In particular, life path number 9. We'll do a walkthrough, and what makes this an appropriate walkthrough is that what we're headed for after the North Node, Aries, South Node, Libra, is North Node, Pisces, South Node, Virgo. At the South Node, Virgo, the number 9 frequency is where we're going to have our karmic adjustments. It's the number 9 frequencies. Our downloads are going to be coming in through Pisces. Learning surrender, acceptance, and learning how to come back to our identity with spirit. In this axis with the North Node at Pisces, we're learning how to loosen the density that we're carrying with the flesh. And that's the point of the number 9 life path. The number 9 life path loosens the density of the soul that's traveling through it. Whatever heart soul urge number that you carry, that's where your density is at, and that's what has to be loosened. That density of the heart space. The context is in the numerical value of the day that you were born. Those 2 numbers, including 0, which is new beginnings. All right? So you bring those 2 numbers together, you have the numerological value of your heart and your soul, which is not to be confused with your life path. I'm talking about the life path, in particular, number 9. The number 9 life path passes through the themes of the Hermit card, Virgo. Also, the first decan of Gemini. The lot of fortune with these type are usually in themes of Pisces, which is acceptance and unification with spirit. When the life path is number 9, there are 2 areas that can accumulate too much density to where you cannot pick up frequency and dissolve into spirit. Because you are an advanced spirit, an advanced soul, because of what you have passed through, what you have learned. You're full of wisdom. And with that being the case, you have to shed away the physical attachments, the egoic attachments in this world to this earth. And this is through the 2 areas of Taurus and Libra. Taurus being having things, Libra being having people that you prefer in your life. Preference, having preference, is luxury. Having options is abundance. Having what you need is wealth. Understand that. Let's get that part straight first. Let's get that understood first for all of us. If you have what you need, you're wealthy. You're wealthy. If you have options, you have abundant wealth. Abundant wealth. If you have what you prefer to have, you have luxury. Understand that. So, the number 9 life path requires for us to walk down themes and experiences to where we thin out, push it to the max, to the limit of the comforts of the flesh, pushing it to the max, thinning it all the way out, thin as paper. Too much density in Taurus and too much density in Libra, it spoils the soul to a point where it cannot vibrate to high enough frequency to become the priest or the priestess. The number 9 is a high priest and high priestess. The number 9 life path in particular means that you have to put on a lifestyle, a routine, a culture about yourself, about your environment, about your life that sustains and nurtures priesthood. That's the point right there, priesthood. You're expected to adjust your entire lifestyle to be formatted to priesthood. I'm not saying walking around with a cross, wearing brown wool. What I'm saying is no longer identifying with things or people. Before that we surrender to the life path 9, we first will struggle with our ego, which is why the number 9 experiences massive losses throughout life, constantly losing things and constantly losing people. And the things are materials that you prefer, not materials that you actually needed. People that you prefer, not people that you actually needed. So much so that it gets down to the point of where you realize all you need is God. So much so to where you get to the point in your life where you surrender and you have peace with that God is sufficient. Take anything from me, I will not lack. Take anyone from me, I will never be alone in this world. That's the number 9. And the person who has the number 9 heart, soul, urge number, they naturally understand this. They came into life with this understanding. And they have to come out of that priesthood and share it. Which is why the life path of the number 9 usually, not life path, but the life path of the HeartSoulUrge number 9 would include them giving out what they have obtained, the wealth of spiritual sustenance that they have obtained from the priesthood in previous lives. So if in this lifetime your life path is number 9, you start out with your past attachment to things and past attachment to people. The people are usually popular people that you have attachments to, attractive people, people who have influence, people who have good looks, people who have personality and charm, people who can give you access to stages and platforms of the world. The things that are enjoyable of this life, pleasurable of this life, giving you gratitude through Libra or relationships. Also a sense of natural justice throughout the earth, where you go in environments and people don't do you wrong, but they do you right. It's the opposite way for the life path 9. You start out experiencing those things. And you have to start out experiencing it because you have to get the effect of losing it. There's no point to it if you just start out in life without it. If you just start out in life without being surrounded by these kind of people. People who are attractive, great personalities, charming, magnetic, influential, popular, right? If you don't start out with that, it's no effect to you not having it in life because you never knew what it was like anyway, consciously in this lifetime. And the same thing with the Taurus themes. If you don't start out in life having money, nice vehicles, maybe nice house, a false sense of security with some resources or provisions that you have stored up, having options, having things that you prefer, or having people around you that you prefer. I really like this girl. I really like that guy. You have to start that way with the life path 9. Because the medicine is in the snatch. The healing is in the pain of letting go. The awakening is in the disillusionment, the devastation of parting ways with it. That's where the healing begins. That's where the medicine enters. It enters through the pain. That's what Rumi said. Okay? Rumi said that the light enters through the womb. Same thing with life path number 9. So you have to start your life out having access to these things, having access to luxury in Taurus and having access to luxury and abundance in Libra. And when you start out with access to those things, when they're in close proximity to you, or when you're taking part in it, and then you have to lose it, that is what initiates the pain that allows the light to come into the soul, thus starting the course of enlightenment. Now, for most, this would start after you're 29 and a half years old, your first Saturn return. I want to make this really clear. I don't want us to go on thinking that with the life path number 9, oh, I'm just going to learn these things and then I'll just get all the wealth after that. No, that's not the case. You're parting ways with it. And you're obtaining a new understanding, a new realization of wealth, a higher wealth, a higher luxury. You're being given access to the wealth of heaven. You're being given access to the luxuries of heaven. You're being given access to abundance of heaven. But it's an even exchange. You have to sacrifice the dense physical vibrations of this life for the higher vibrations and lighter frequencies of spirit. And you have to start to merge with it in this lifetime with the life path number 9. As long as I'm getting positive feedback from all the fine bitches in the earth, right? All the powerful men in earth, resourceful people, making positive connections. They put me in this platform, entering this room, shaking hands, cameras all on me, stage lit up for me, right? Carpet rolled out. I'm pulling up in this, I'm pulling up in that. All of these things keeps the soul dense. As long as you're getting positive reactions from this, as long as you're getting engagement from this, as long as you are identifying with these things, it keeps the soul dense. And with the soul having density, it cannot vaporize to where it takes flight to the higher realms. Spirit is calling you to be on their staff, to be in the room, to walk among them, to walk with them, to walk where angels walk. The number 9 life path is a life path where you're leaving behind the physical and fleshly realm. Within this same earth, you are entering heaven from the earth. And in entering heaven from the earth, you commune with spirit and all of the forces that are there in spirit. Orishas, ancestors, angels, all of these higher frequencies, you become one with them. You get to see them. And what I mean by see them is not of the flesh, but of the spirit. You come to realize the shape, form, and image, the voice. You recognize it. You become one. You do not hesitate to identify with them and identify when their signature is marking an experience in your life or somebody else's life. You become one with spirit. You do not get to have both, because it's a luxury to have access to that. It's a privilege to have access to that. You don't get to have both. You have to sacrifice one for the other. You're not able to see spirit as long as you're seeing fine ass bitches around you and having access to all kinds of luxury that keeps your soul dense and lowly vibrating, because you're going to continue identifying with it. It is natural, it is human of us to do so. You will covet. So throughout life, you will have themes of success and downfall, success and downfall, success and downfall. You will go up and fall down. You will go up and fall down. Justice will be distorted for you in the physical plane. Instead of you going amongst people and people receiving you or embracing you, people will be insecure about you. They will not like you. They will not trust you because they fear you. Because they see who's behind you. You have spirit behind you. You have forces behind you. So you will face many injustices in this life, unfair outcomes. All of these illusions of injustice, that is, it will cause you to come back to source every time for what you need. So earth will become a place that forces you to commune with God, a place that forces you to take refuge with spirit. It is a circumstance where you will have to constantly be in contact with spirit for your own sanity, for the interpretation, to know what it means. From whence does this come? If it be by your will, Let this cup pass if it is your will. You will have to drink from cups that you don't want to drink from. You will have to deal with things that you prefer not to, but it gives you access to wealth and luxury of the higher realms. This is the price to pay for that. That number 9 life path is no joke. It's the last life path before you enter into masteries. 11s and 22s. So many people who have the life path number 9, they will spend the first half of their year chasing what seems to come so natural to them in their soul because they're used to certain themes of Taurus and Libra coming natural to them in the past life frequencies because they're leaving the 8 life path. And leaving the 8 life path, you remember how easy it was for you to access number 8 vibrations in your life. And it would be frustrating to you as well as disappointing to come to the realization that you no longer can access it so easily. And every time you do, you lose it, you drop it, it gets taken away from you. And the same thing with friends and relationships of the Libra themes that you would have access to. You will face a lot of betrayal. You will attract a lot of enemies, people who will do you real dirty, do you real wrong. And through Taurus theme of getting things, you will inherit many burdens through material, inconveniences through material, bindings through materials. In other words, money and relationships will bring curses for you. It will bring destruction for you. It will bring downfalls for you. It will bring burden and pain for you. Once you learn to let those things go, you find comfort, security, peace of mind, stability in spirit. And when I say in spirit, I'm talking about God and the hierarchies of God. That's what I'm talking about. So this becomes your refuge instead. Because we all are liars to ourselves if we're saying, if I have access to this amount of money or property, or to be surrounded by people, it's not going to corrupt me. Yes, it is going to corrupt you. You're fucking lying because you're a human being. It is going to corrupt you. To have access to the baddest bitches in the land, to have access to the finest, vehicles and properties, financial status. Yes, it will corrupt you. The same way that a female is corrupted by her own beauty, a man is corrupted by his wealth. It's the same fucking thing. You go find me a bitch that got a nice body, pretty face, and she not corrupted and fucked up in her attitude. That would be a very rare find. That's a very rare find. And you find me a man who has wealth in a monetary sense and access to political ties in a resourceful and power dynamical sense, who's not leaned into corruption. Yeah, that's a miracle. Why do you think Jesus even said, he mentioned about the chances of a wealthy man entering the gates of heaven is the same as a camel going through the eye of a needle. What, you thought that was a fucking joke? No, that really is the fucking case. In life path number 9, you are entering into priesthood or priestesshood. You are God's priest. That means you are the maiden of God. You are the husband or wife of God. You are marrying God. And when you marry God, God is your provider. God is your protector. God is your sustainer. God is your source. And all other things are resource. But you have to learn this through losing things, not having things. Because only in losing things can you see that it's yourself that you're recovering as you lose these things. Only through not having things can you see that God always provides for me, that my needs are with God. The number is already known. The measure is already known. And you have to witness this over and over and over and over and over again in your life with that life path number 9. You have to bear witness to that every single day, that God knows exactly how much I need and when I need it. And it is never late and never has been late. I have always had what I needed. But it cannot come from, my job, my pension. I got this in my savings. It can't come from that. And this is why you have to start out with such things, and then you have to lose every bit of it. You have to lose all of it. You're not going to have a life path number 9 without losing every fucking thing. You're going to lose it. You're going to lose every fucking thing. But you're going to gain everything, ironically. What you're going to gain is your own salvation. You're going to gain your divine identity. You're going to gain power that none can challenge. You will intimidate every person that you step around without wanting to intimidate them, because they feel the Spirit of God with you. They know you can see right through them. You can read their thoughts. You are the walking oracle. Going down life path number 9, you have to learn how to become the oracle. But the oracle cannot be the oracle with the physical density of this life. You have to lose density. The money, the luxury, the quote unquote important people around you, all these different things gives you density. And you can't pick up vibration to merge with spirit. You have to lose it all. The constant humiliation, it gives you a spirit of humility. And the spirit of humility causes you to extract wisdom from all things. Everything becomes a sign. Everything becomes evidence and proof. Everything becomes knowledge. Everything becomes wisdom. Everything becomes information that you absorb from every experience. Every interaction that you have in life is a tarot card that you're flipping and shuffling as you pass through life, reading the signs of life. Everything around you speaks to you because you become the oracle as a result of that. You become the oracle. And all things in life become signs that you read. If a bird flies past you, if a leaf falls on the ground, you are reading every sign into yourself. This is when you are surrounded by the counsel of angels and spirit guides. You're surrounded by them, and they're constantly communicating to you. But you don't have access to that room if you don't have the right frequency. And you can't get the right frequency having too much shit that you identify with. The life path number 9 comes with per diem. It comes with per diem from heaven. You do not get to own too much shit with the life path number 9. Because this is the person who's learning to shed away the earthly identity. the earthly vibrations, the earthly forms of self, and rising into spirit, learning how to die. When you learn how to die and you're rising into spirit, death ascends you, and you become a powerful ancestor that sustains legacy after you have gone. You can't pick up these frequencies attached to certain things, so it is insisted upon us on the Life Path 9. Starting out, you going down that pathway, everything is eights. Very familiar to the soul, eights. It's natural for you, eights. The number 8 attracts resourceful people, resources, popular people, powerful people. The number 8 has knowledge, experience, and wisdom to move power, politics, and enterprise behind the scenes. The number 8 knows how to get to the money. But that's a form of wealth that soul has already learned. You don't come to earth to learn the same, to learn something that you already have come to understand and master. You come to learn what you don't know or what you didn't get right. When you look in the natal birth chart of any person who has life path number 9, you're always going to see the evidence there that in the past life, it was either people or things that they had wealth with, that they had popularity with, that they had strength with, that they had access to. And you come back here with the same thing, and as you're scheduled to experience losing all these things and losing access to it, you start to get to a point where you feel rejected by life. You feel rejected by people, and you feel rejected by things. It's like the number 8 vibration of the earth has rejected and expelled you. It's told you, no, you cannot be with us. You can't come with us. You can't be in our circle. Because you're not going to be able to show up as their equivalents in the flesh. You'll be scrutinized. You're not going to be able to compete with them, compare with them. Because they're in the number 8 vibrations and it's very familiar to you, so you think that you still belong to that vibration. But you don't. You're ascending. And with you ascending, you have to let go of those things and no longer identify with those things, but you still carry the image of it. You still carry the fragrance of it. You still carry the looks of it. So when you're scheduled for this number 9 life path, you're still very attractive, just like the energy you're coming from. You're still very magnetic. You're sexy. People look at you. They're like, wow, he looks good or she looks good. I want to be around that person. People mistake you as being a person who is with material and popular people. But you're going in the opposite direction because you came with that image, you came with that look, because life path number 9 has you to walk down a pathway where you have to take that burden. It's a burden to you. Because people are always expecting you to be that materialistic person or that social butterfly. But it's destined for you to have experience that sheds those vibrations of yourself away. And you're somebody totally different. Where this ends up at is you get to a point after your 29 and a half years of earth experiences, you finally get to a point where you bow out of the worldly competition. You surrender. And when you bow out of the worldly competition and you surrender, that's when your life will start to make sense to you. When you bow out and you start to understand that you're like a union agent and you get per diem for all your assignments, that's when God can use you. You get placed in people's life as a spiritual agent on the behalf of heaven. You get placed among people in career situations, business, whatever it is, for the spiritual and wisdom factor, not for the material purpose or cause that others are there for. You're there to bring others' consciousness and realization to spirit, to the wisdom factor at hand. That's what you start to get used for. You start to get used for that purpose. The number 9 has more experiences than anybody, because they're constantly failing and getting back up, falling, getting back up, losing and regaining. Their experiences are thorough. They are full of wisdom. You cannot measure the drama that is behind the number 9. They've been through it all. Nothing can shake them, nothing can faze them, nothing can surprise them. They have the deepest calm of all energies, the deepest calm. And when a number 9 life path or a number 9 heart soul urge number comes into your life, they have wisdom to break and part with you. They have to show you something. They have to teach you something. They have to enlighten you. They have to call you to spirit. They have to make you aware of the higher realm. They have to make you aware of the higher vibration. They have to show you the inferiority of material. They have to show you the inferiority of money. They have to show you the inferiority of your looks, the inferiority of beauty and charm and personality. They have to show you how finite those things are, how weak those things are, how temporary those things are. That's why they came into your life. They are agents. The number 9 belongs to God. It is God's wife. It is God's husband. So even if you marry a number 9, it's God's husband first and it's God's wife first. You're just contracted to be evolved through that person, that number 9. The number 9 doesn't belong to any damn body. That's an agent from heaven sent into your life. The number 9 gets per diem, and what I'm saying by that is the number 9 always gets provided by miracles. You do not get provision solely from your own hand. You will have means in this earth, but it will be just enough. The abundance of your means and resources will come from source. This is law for the number 9. This is not the case for anyone else except the number 9. The number 9 is provided for through miracles. For example, when you carry the number 9 energy, you may be a person who sees visions and you hit the lottery and millions of dollars or thousands of dollars at certain times, but it's just enough for you to do this. That's your per diem from heaven. You get straight from source, not resource. Your provision comes from source, not resource. Or you may be contracted to benefit someone in their life for a certain time, and in turn, they benefit you in your life in a way that you cannot benefit yourself. That's per diem from heaven. This is the life path number 9. But it takes a spirit of humility to have acceptance for these things, because you could be in such circumstances and scowl your face up at it because your ego tripping and your ego is saying, oh, I need to get it this way or I need to get it that way because it's a flex for me to get it that way. But the point is, were you not provided for? Do you not have what you need? Did God not bless you? Is God not gracious? That's the fucking point. That number 9 is an angel on earth. And you do not get to be of the world when you are number 9. No, you don't. You have to be light. And what I mean by light, you cannot have the density of owning too much shit, having too much shit, and identifying with a bunch of people crowding around you. Massive attention. Putting your ego in how fine your man is or how fine your woman is. How nice your car is, how nice your house is. All that shit will disrupt the whole entire point of the number 9 energy. The monks wear wool. It's a sign of humility and abstinence. When you have the number 9 energy, there's always a spiritual reason behind the places you stand. Even in business circumstances. You may have started a new career where, there's different characters around you, whatever. And everybody's there for the business view. But through that number 9, you're going to come to realize, wow, I'm here to make a personal impact on every person spiritually. And it don't mean by preaching. It means by your example. Through your reasons for doing things that they can't predict. Saying things that they could not predict. Saying things that give shock value. Doing things that give shock value. Because only God could have taught you to think that way. This is when you become a prophet among the people. The number 9 are like prophets and messengers that are sent among the people. There are some monks who don't have any money, any property, right? But they depend on the people to feed them and clothe them. So they do services and do different things, and the community provides for the monks. They give them rice, they give them food, they give them soup or whatever. They depend solely on the people to take care of them. That's the number 9. You are going to get to a point in your life where you depend solely on spirit, solely on God to care for you. And I do not mean you have a peace of mind and contentment or feel secure because you know how much money you got in your savings. No, that means where you got a negative fucking balance in your goddamn savings. From a physical earthly standpoint, it seems like you fucked up in life. A piano's hanging over your head on a string. One wrong move and you really fucked up. That's what a number 9 life path starts to look like after a while. No one is more blessed. That one right there. That one right there. God is covering that person with his wings. Covering that person. Sustaining that person. Providing every single need. Now, as a collective, this is what we all going to have to learn. That's why I'm talking about this. We as a collective are going to learn the number 9 life path because the South Node Virgo is going to insist that that's the case. South Node Virgo indicates we're working hard for things that can't be worked for. Overdoing it. Giving too much effort. Doing too much. Always dissatisfied. Ungrateful. Discontent. Overstraining and exerting yourself. Gotta have more. Perfection. So we gotta pay attention to how we're doing with the Juno and Black Moon Lilith transit of Virgo in this year. Black Moon Lilith is finishing up 9 months transit through Virgo. What did you learn in the past 9 months as it relates to your Virgo placement? What did you learn as it relates to Juno retrograde in Virgo, in which it is now direct going through the second decan? What did you learn about yourself as it relates to Virgo? Did you sense the dissatisfaction that you had? Since last fall, we had the new moon Virgo. Last fall, new moon Virgo. Since that time, right? The dissatisfaction that you had in this area of your life, overexerting yourself in this area of your life, doing the best that you can, okay? But what did you learn about yourself? All of these things are going to be brought back out to the forefront during the South Node Virgo transit that's coming up next. And this is preparing us for the Chiron Taurus transit. Chiron Taurus transit is going to rock everybody's resources and finances. So when I say we all are going to start learning the life path number 9 as a collective, I really mean what the fuck I'm talking about. And that means we no longer are going to be identifying with how much money we got or what type of popular or attractive people we have around us. These are not going to be the determining factors of our value anymore, or comparative aspects of ourselves. We're coming out of those codes. Those codes are behind us. Nobody's going to be filthy. The time period where the common person had access to monetary luxury, that's going to be behind us. And there's a reason for that. Humanity has to evolve in spirit, not in flesh. Come on, stay the fuck with me, man. We have to evolve in spirit. So if we're evolving in spirit, we have to part ways with what makes us too dense to evolve in spirit, which means we have to part ways with our connection and attraction to monetary luxury. And we have to re-identify with higher frequencies of luxury, which is spirituality and wisdom, well-being of self and family, love in your life, the abundance of contentment between others, peace between others, love between others, the condition of heart and soul. These are supposed to be what we identify as wealth and luxury. We have to change what luxury means, and we have to change what wealth means. We have to change what wellness is. Bring it back to the truth of that. South Node Scorpio ended the obsession with luxury. South Node Libra ends the social agreement of vanity. Once it goes to the South Node, we're not going back to those frequencies and codes. It's a wrap. We're moving forward. The South Node Virgo is going to introduce us to letting go of overexerting ourselves for perfection and having acceptance for that which is imperfect about life, because that which is imperfect about life is part of the wisdom and abundance that we receive out of life through Pisces. It's part of the unfolding of the chaos of spirit that brings true abundance into life. So humanity is evolving, but to evolve, we have to get luxury as a monetary sense out of our way as a distraction. Then we can evolve in spirit. So yes, we are parting ways with the status of having luxury from Taurus and luxury from Libra in physical monetary sense. Even the things in society that we argue about comes from luxury. Comes from luxury. Oh, I don't want a woman that do this. I don't want a man that does that. You have to have luxury to say some of the stupid, childish things that we say about each other. You have to have the luxury to turn your nose up at the things that we turn our nose up at. You have to have luxury to do that. Talking about what you don't want and what you ain't getting ready to do and what you don't want. It takes luxury to have such abundant options in life. If you have more than one option, you have abundance. If you have access to what you want and prefer, you have luxury. We're coming out of luxury. In that sense, we're not coming back to that. Number 9 vibration is what all of humanity is about to walk down the path of. And by the time we come to this understanding, Chiron will be in Taurus. Chiron will be in Taurus. And when Chiron comes in Taurus, those who are still attached to those themes are going to suffer. Because luxuries of items, of physical things, are going to be inaccessible. Luxuries as far as people is already becoming inaccessible because of the South Node Libra. Luxuries as it relates to the 7th house or people means, okay, you feel entitled to have the type of man or woman or business relationship or romantic relationship. You feel entitled to have everything that's on your fucking list. You feel entitled to all that shit. That whatever's on your list, you should have. That's luxury. That's called fucking luxury. And if you have more than one option that you have access to, of, oh, I want a woman like this, I want a man like that, everybody in my DMs and all this other shit, that's called abundance. But if you have what you need out of a person, that's called wealth. So we have been in so much luxury. It has made us ungrateful. It has made us very ugly. It has spoiled our souls. It has corrupted us in Taurus and in Libra themes. And that's why these two places had to have so much work. These are the territories of Venus, the astral body. We have been exploiting ourselves as it relates to the astral body. So the astral body has to go through that number 9 energy to gain maturity and grounding. That means we got to lose shit. We got to go without shit. We got to be deprived of such things so we can catch a higher frequency. We have too much density to make it into spirit as a collective, to commune with the gods as a collective. We have too much density. That's why we think the way we think. We think in perverted ways. very selfish, arrogant, rude, disrespectful, run into drugs and alcohol abuse and all type of different things to solve our problems, violent, we are oppressive, insensitive. We can't tap into compassion, mutual love, understanding, kindness, things of that nature. We can't tap into those codes because we don't have access to those frequencies. We're too dense. We're too dense to catch on to it. Number 9.